All right, top of the morning to everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Actually, we have mild weather out here for it to be Las Vegas. Y'all be careful out on those roads. They're talking about a lot of cancellations that they're doing deliberately over the July 4th weekend. So give yourself some extra time, or just be ready to roll with the punches, or find some other adjustments to get to wherever you have to go. Okay, if necessary. Really, they want everybody, or they want people to be still, okay, or as many people as they can with all these staff shortages. Now, let me let you know this, all right, before I get started, okay? Yeah, I'm a targeted individual, and there's some people that I have a problem with and have a problem with me, okay? Uh, if you want to play games, okay, then I'll turn those tables to where you'll be playing my game, okay? They destroyed everybody that tried to go up against me, okay? So if you want to be a part of this, I want to let you know that this is not your fight, and you will be destroyed, okay? You will get your feelings hurt. If you wanted to do something to me, you should have already done it by now, okay? So until that happens, it's all a bunch of talk. Now let's talk about a couple of things here, because we've seen three major events that happened in the Supreme Court this year, and apparently it looks like they're kind of rolling back a little bit on these liberal actions here. Roe versus Wade, earlier, a couple of months ago, the Affirmative Action Act, which they struck down yesterday, and then today they did also the student loan forgiveness. Okay, it's not really a part of it, all right, but this is one of the programs or whatever that President Biden tried to put in place. That's going to be talked about on the next video that I'm going to make here a little bit later. So, about the affirmative action, excuse me, that was rolled back yesterday, okay, in a divided Supreme Court case, uh, or hearing, or judgment, however you want to call it, for schools like Harvard and UNC, okay, uh, based on race and so forth, all right? And it brought a lot of concerns. So this stuff like this, I've never seen this in my lifetime. And I guess whatever they're doing it for a reason. Uh, I got to hear different opinions about it, like the media, also like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They did a press conference on that. And then I've listened to guys like Trump and Pence, and, on the more conservative side. All right. I still have yet to see what Roland Martin, actually, he's one of the top, actually, he's the top Democratic advocates, to see what he had to say, okay, about this. And I'm pretty sure Roland Martin right now is probably, you know what I'm saying, he's probably heated about this, okay? I could see both sides. I could see where, on the Democratic side, that a history of progress is being rolled back, all right? And they're concerned about it because, again, that it looks like that it appears that things are going to roll back. For the Republicans, they look at it as it's all about fairness. It shouldn't be about one race and so forth, okay? And they have a point. Well, Asians are being, also being complained that they have been discriminated against, okay? So a quick little rundown about, like, affirmative action, the EO, because I think if they would have done all this stuff right in the 60s and early 70s, again, we wouldn't have problems like we did now, okay? And I understand the change in times, okay, where they had to do certain things. The laws are already in place, okay? I just think the laws need to be revised, or they need to be amended. Now, see, they left out the equal opportunity, okay? The equal opportunity was actually one of the first factions prior. That was something that came out of the uh, suffrage movement around the late teens or 20s. Okay, and actually equal opportunity, and we'll get into that here a little bit later. What I'm about to tell you was not actually meant for people that look like me, black people. Okay, which pretty much led the way in the 60s. And again, I said I'll get on that here in a second. Or people of color or women. It was mainly made for white women, okay, to have some of the opportunities that white men had, okay. Uh, and then later on, like when the civil rights was going on, like in the late 50s and 60s and so forth, okay, some black men that were, put in place, okay, in many industries, military, that type of stuff, sports, okay, but that started to become more abundant again in the late 50s, 60s, and so forth. Like I said, with affirmative action being put in place around the late Kennedy era, before he was assassinated, and then President Lyndon Johnson had revised it, then that was something at the time to make sure that blacks were not discriminated, okay, when it came to some of the white schools, a lot of the Fortune 500 white companies at that time, okay, all because of, with the mounting pressure for civil rights. Well, I got to tell you, those days are long gone, okay, that they are because of, again, all the different changes. Now, one thing I didn't know, see, that affirmative action was federally mandated. I didn't know, once again, that the EO was not mandated until like 1970, 1971. Okay. And that was put in place, okay, to make sure that women, ensure that women are not discriminated against. And that was probably one of the early products that come out of the early feminism movement at that time, okay, that started in the 70s. Okay. Uh, well, what I think was that should have happened, and again, maybe I was taught differently, because affirmative action also makes sure that they don't reinvent the wheel, okay? They won't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. This is why I said that when a lot of these leftist movements come along and they protest, and it seems like it's all good, and then it turns out to be a hustle. And it always falls in years when they got the election. Then when that happens, people quit protesting or whatever movement that is, and then the affirmative action is there, but there's no training. That's why I say that during the affirmative action, the way I was taught was that people are trained, okay, not to forget, the equal opportunity, all the those um, mandates or rules about that, so they don't reinvent the wheel. That's why we keep going through the same things over and over again. Every 3 or 4 years, okay? Because I think that people are not, again, that they're not taking the training seriously until something cataclysmic happens. So that's another part of affirmative action, okay, that people are not talking about. Okay, what should have happened was during the 60s, the EO should have came first, okay, and then the affirmative action should have came like in the 70s, okay, to revisit the EO and make sure that the same mistakes didn't happen over and over. But I do get it. I get it. Okay, but now you fast forward that 60 years later. Now you have Arabic people, Asians. Okay, so I guess these schools are also making sure that there's not too many, because what a lot of people feel is that there's too many black people, okay, or like white people, Asian people are being left out. For example, like white people, like they're complaining. Like in the 70s, and I think in 2003, there were Supreme Court cases that were saying that they've been left out of stuff, that they've been discriminated against. Okay, a lot of your, let's say, underprivileged white people, for example. Okay, so it's all about, I think, checks and balances here. But they can find out what color you are. I mean, you got your application. You know, you're gonna put down there who you are, unless you say choose not to disclose. But they're gonna find that information out anyway. I guess there was supposed to be some type of essay that they were saying that they're gonna do. Okay, so to be honest with you, and a couple of other things. If they don't accept you, let's say if somebody you look like me, just find another way. Okay, they have other schools you can go to. They got William and Mary. They have other Ivy League schools. You really pretty much getting the same education anyway. Or you can go to one of the HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get in Harvard, you probably consider Howard or Hampton University, where I'm from. As they say, Howard is the black Harvard, and Hampton is the black Yale. Okay, those are great schools that you can go to. All right, and this is something that's actually going to cause a ripple effect in the professional world. I think that probably they looked at, along with, the change in America, being that we have women, also people of color, also the LGBT community. Okay, that yes, I think that they probably do want to, you know, preserve what is it? Hegemony, white hegemony, probably so. Okay, I'm not going to be surprised. But if you look like on our side of the house, with many of the corporate world, sports, the military, even college, okay, people that being accepted in college is already a sector that is, already like black or whatever. Okay, so they feel it as though it's not really necessary anymore. But I think that, again, that they don't want, in the Democratic side, they don't want people to forget. But I also think that it's about money, and also about the next uh, election. I think that, once again, the affirmative action, and I think they're going to appeal it, should be left in place but re-amended. And then, but the EO is that's what people need to worry about the most, okay? Because EO is really for everybody, okay? So that's what really needs to happen. And I'm just giving you a rundown on the history of all this and what should have happened in the 60s, but they kind of threw this stuff together, okay, because of the mounting pressure and just to keep America from imploding. All right. So let me know what you think about the video. Thank you for your time. Think I went over my time a little bit. Stay tuned for this doggone college loan debt this thing forgiveness that the Supreme Court shot down.